Well, not many knows that. As a matter of fact, I'm a quarter Chinese. My grandmother was born in Tianjin in early 1900 and met my grandfather in Tianjin. Tianjin had an Italian commercial concession, and my grandfather was an official Navy over there. But the interesting story is that, as a matter of fact, my great-grandfather, so the father of my grandmother, was one of the first 100 Chinese kids that was sent to the US in late 1800 to study English and to study the Western cultures, with the idea of returning to China and supporting the government to modernize. And as a matter of fact, my great-grandfather was the founder of Tianjin University.
With the economic situation changing and the pandemic, many are wondering whether there is the huge danger of some of those whose extreme poverty has been eradicated over the past few years, so would had to go back to earlier poverty.
As a matter of fact, poverty is not a static process. Poverty eradication is not a static process. It's not that once you're out of poverty, you are out of poverty forever. The risk of falling back in poverty are from anywhere. I mean, we experienced COVID, which was an expected event and put under pressure those that were more vulnerable. But any shock could have potentially put the same people under the same stress. Imagine a sudden drop in the price of commodities, or a bad harvest due to climate change. So I think that we should always remember, the government does it, that achieving poverty is important, but keeping people out of poverty is more important. And this is a critical pillar of the rural revitalization strategy, that the new development paradigm of the government of China. The rural revitalization strategy does not only aim at economically developing the rural areas, also aims at keeping those that were lifted out of poverty out of poverty. An important message for China is that you need to invest in your rural areas. The development of China, the economic development of China over the past year has been pulled by the urbanization and the development of secondary and tertiary sectors. But it's important for the social stability of the country that you develop your rural areas. You give opportunities to the people in rural areas to remain in rural areas if they want to. At the moment, they do not have choices. Many of the beneficiaries that I interview and that are forced to migrate in rural area, in urban areas for a period of the year, because to search for a job, would rather prefer to earn a bit less and stay in rural areas if they had the opportunity. This is, this is something that we should take into consideration, and we should promote, give them the opportunity to stay in rural areas.